hi and welcome to the drop-in, where we here at the Reykjavík Grapevine talk to people who just drop by the office. On request, off request, this time by request. Sorry, I'm confusing.
Well, we expressly request this, gentleman.
We asked for this. And with us is Roberto. You are Bart. And I'm Jón. How shall we proceed? Roberto, you were in the news recently because of your application for citizenship, which eventually you got, but there were some hiccups along the way. Should we maybe just start a little bit with who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been here, and perhaps why you came here to begin with? Something along those lines. Do you have
maybe. I mean, obviously, just before we start the interview, I just want to congratulate you on becoming Iceland's newest citizen.
Thank you.
And as a non-citizen, but somebody who followed your plight, I just want to congratulate you on your decorum and the grace and dignity with which you went through this. It reflected well on those of us who are a long way back in the process, and I was, grateful for the way you handled it. I don't know how I would have handled such a situation. So thank you and congratulations.
I have to thank the Icelanders for that, because except for the single person that must have processed my application, everyone else was so supportive and understanding that I really couldn't have reacted in any other possible way. So, I mean, I realized that this was just one of the many inconveniences of a standardized bureaucracy. I mean, standardized is perhaps a big word, but yeah. So I had help. It wasn't just me being, well-behaved. It was mostly because I was surrounded by people that made it very easy for me to still be grateful despite it all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so you have a community of Icelanders you've developed over the years here?
Yeah, it was mostly co-workers, of course, at the university, at the Icelandic department. There were people that actually had helped others in my situation.
Yeah.
So they just couldn't possibly understand why, in my case, it was such a big problem. And then, of course, my family. My partner, she's Icelandic, and so the whole family is. It's a large family, and it's a very close group, so I felt a lot of support. And when I got the news, I was actually in the countryside to help with the réttir, the sorting of sheep. So the morning after the news got out, everyone in the countryside knew about it. So they came to me to express, their sympathy and.
The sympathy when the bad news came. Were you in the countryside for the good news?
Mm-hmm. No, for the bad news.
For the bad news.
Yeah. That's what helped.
Yeah, that helped.
Yeah.
Yondi, our publisher, happens to have a great fondness for sheep work.
Yeah, I grew up on a farm, so I do.
So that was probably what he was most proud of you for doing it during this stress, is that you were doing what he views as the only job.
I was like, great sweater, great. What do you call this? Like the sorting, like. Well, I love that.
The sorting, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was a great way to vent. All the rage just disappeared.
Yeah, it's
some physical work. That's all you need.
Yeah, you have to wrestle with sheep who don't want to be wrestled with.
And réttir's just concluded. Am I right in saying most of those sheep round up so we let sheep free in the.
Yeah, so they graze often in the highlands in the summer.
Yeah.
And then by fall, I guess it's almost. I think it's almost always the same weekend. I can't remember if it was the second Sunday or whatever that weekend is going to be, the second Sunday of September, where they round them up more or less around the country. And once they've been rounded up, you have to figure out whose sheep. So you put them into this, I don't know what you call this, a réttir thing.
Pen, I guess, yeah.
That makes sense. And then you sort them into like their separate. Each farmer has like a separate pen. There's
section
of the pen. Yeah,
I have attended only as a viewer. I've never collaborated or put any physical labor into this.
It's fun. It's very fun.
Did not look fun. Looked exhausting.
You sleep very well after a day of that.
Yeah. And then there's it usually takes 2 or 3 days, the actual highland rounding up, where you go out into the highlands on horseback and sleep out there for a couple of nights. Sometimes there's drinking but not too much. You have to be able to do the job.
Yeah, I believe that.
But yeah, it's that part is also great fun. Well, depending on the weather, it's sometimes quite rough.
So
anyway.
were you also in the countryside when you received the positive news, or were you here at the university?
No, I was at the university.
Oh, fantastic.
I had just finished teaching and I saw the message on the app, Iceland.is.
Oh.
Yeah, there was the notification, Nitskjal, and I was expecting another problem. It was like, oh God, what is it going to be this time?
Yeah.
And then it was like, congratulations, here is your letter. You've been granted citizenship. And I'm like, oh.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It was such a relief.
Who was the first person you told?
Oh, I think it was probably my partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long was the process to apply? I'm just curious.
I applied in March last year. So it was more than a year and a half, basically, something like that.
Wow, and with all the University of Iceland staff kind of helping, I assume, at least in your department, kind of helping you guide through it?
I got a letter from my supervisor. He's a professor of medieval studies, and he's been my supervisor also for my master's, so we know each other very well. We've collaborated. I taught Old Icelandic in his stead sometimes, so he knows me very well, and he wrote a very detailed letter explaining all the courses that I took, that I taught, my competencies, the fact that we always communicate in Icelandic, and we have been doing so since, I don't know, many years ago.
Right.
But that was not considered enough.
Oh. Yeah.
They wanted something more, and they mentioned the fact that in this letter the professor said that I had taken also classes in modern Icelandic. Which I didn't think that it made such a huge difference, because it was something that I did in 2015, and I have done much more with this language since then. So I asked the project manager of the Faculty of Icelandic to write another letter where he certified that I had concluded these courses, which he did. And that certificate was not considered like standard, right? So I had some communication with the lawyer of Útlendingastofnun, and I actually asked whether she had seen another document that I had sent, which was a university diploma in teaching studies at the university level, which I received in 2021. And in the certificate, it says that, I passed all the courses and everything was taught and examined in Icelandic. That also was not considered enough. Oh. They said because it's not a university degree, which I thought it was very strange, because the credits that I took in Icelandic were not a degree either. Okay. But eventually came out the correct word of the name of the document that they wanted, which was námsferilsyfirlit, so an overview of my studies, which was no problem for me to get. I just went to the office. I got this document. I sent it last Thursday afternoon, and on Monday morning I got the citizenship. And I
fantastic.
It's just so surreal in a sense. I think it was a complete waste of time, especially in light of the fact that they are so far behind with the processing. And also because I got plenty of stories from people that came to me and said, I was also in your situation. I sent a letter from this person, this other person, and it was never a problem. And sometimes it was a university professor, like in my case. But there was one guy, they also interviewed him on MBL. Yeah. And he said it was like the director of the school where I work that wrote that letter, and it was considered enough. Yeah. So it feels like... what's the English word? Geðþótta ákvörðun, sort of.
It's what would be the word?
It's like a decision taken randomly.
Yeah,
and you just used 4 different Icelandic words, not just one of those long compound words.
Geðþótta ákvörðun is a good one. I think it's kind of like a decision made on a whim or without consideration or something like that. Would be. It's not the correct translation, but in that vein. Yeah. And I mean, generally, I think I'm correct here, but you would know better that there are in the regulations for applying to citizenship, there's like a list of things you have to fulfill, and one of them is the language thing, and they have like a default, you take this exam, but it does allow for exceptions. Yeah. And once it's established that they've given exceptions to other people, then obviously they have to consider that when they give or do not give the exceptions. which it sounds like a Gethóttaákvörðun if they haven't like checked what is the bar we've set here.
If the rules in order for a person to get the exception is not the same for everyone, then that's a problem.
That's a massive
because
problem.
If it hadn't been possible for me to get the exception, I would have just taken the exam, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But once you see, okay, I have the possibility of saving 40,000, and you know, why not? So that's why I took that path. But if I had known that it would have been so much of a problem, I would have probably decided immediately to just go for the test, because it's such an easy test anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, if you conducted studies at the university in Icelandic and you've passed and you've taught these things, it sounds kind of like a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, we'll put a pin on how easy it is, because I got to come back to you when I have to take my test. Your Icelandic is so clean, because I do find that when foreigners speak Icelandic, we're required to speak each syllable so pristinely. We don't get the leeway that maybe native speakers can kind of slur their syllables a little bit.
I mean, I hate to speak for all of Icelanders, but we're also, but I'm going to do that now, generalize massively. We're not patient listeners when people have the slightest hint of an accent. That's a curse. And I've heard it from a lot of people who have worked here in the past and whom I've met who've moved here, that even though their Icelandic is fine but they retain some sort of an accent, they have a hard time getting anybody to like stay in Icelandic in the conversation with them.
That's a behavior that has to be learned to an extent, and Icelanders haven't had the possibility of learning it for centuries. It's a very new situation. Yeah.
And I try, but I even find myself trying to be like aware of this even and still fall into that pothole, which is
it's unconscious.
It's unconscious mostly.
I know it seemed like a waste of time for you and a lot of stress for you, but the way it played out in the Icelandic media was actually very helpful for foreigners seeing you go through it, because it put the discussion of how we learn the language and how we test for the language into the popular vernacular. So, yeah, I know I thanked you earlier, but I do think that this was really useful to have out in the open, and the way you handled it with such transparency throughout the process, like. I personally would just like be humiliated or like not wanting to talk about my problems in front of people, which is not the way to go through life in Iceland. You want to be open and honest as quickly as possible, because as you said, people will reach out to help, I think. That obviously wasn't a question, but I know it was a waste of your time, but it really was a help for my time to see you discuss this publicly.
There is one thing that I would like to say, though, that I almost felt guilty through all this process, because for me personally, as a European citizen, the Icelandic citizenship was just something symbolic. It was something that I wanted to do because I decided to, be a part of this society, and I wanted to make it official. That's why I wanted the citizenship. I mean, the only right that I achieved that I didn't have before is the right to vote for the government.
The national government.
The national government. I can already vote for the municipal elections,
which are coming up in the spring.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, do you have more questions, Bart?
No, I kind of have to digest all of this. Thank you.
This has been a tour de force in demonstrating how your citizenship has been a net brain gain for Iceland.
Yeah. Your reputation as a teacher precedes you. I have had friends who've had you as a teacher. So
okay.
Yeah, and you are known to be.
That's very nice to hear.
Yeah. So I guess this is it then. I would like to thank you again, Roberto, for dropping in.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
And, I hope to see you soon again.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.